As the campfire crackled and the shadows danced wildly around us, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. It was our last night at Camp Outlook Pines, and despite the laughter and camaraderie of my fellow campers, a sense of unease settled over me like a heavy blanket. The day had been filled with typical camp activities, swimming in the lake, hiking through the dense forest, and even a round of ghost stories around the fire. But as the night wore on and the flames began to dwindle, the forest seemed to close in around us, suffocating and ominous. I glanced around at my friends, their faces illuminated by the dying embers of the fire. They were oblivious to the growing tension in the air, lost in their own conversations and laughter. But I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched, that unseen eyes lurked in the darkness beyond the ring of firelight. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced the night, shattering the tranquility of the forest. My heart thundered in my chest as I scrambled to my feet, my eyes darting wildly around the clearing. The scream echoed through the trees, filling me with a primal fear I couldn't shake. "Did you hear that?" I whispered, my voice trembling. My friends exchanged nervous glances, their faces pale in the dim light. "It sounded like it came from the woods," one of them said, her voice barely above a whisper. Without a word, we grabbed flashlights and began to make our way into the darkness, the trees looming over us like silent sentinels. The forest was alive with strange noises, the rustle of leaves, the snap of twigs beneath our feet, and the distant howl of a lone wolf. As we ventured deeper into the woods, the sense of dread that had been gnawing at my insides only grew stronger. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being led into a trap, that whatever had screamed in the night was waiting for us, lurking in the shadows. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness ahead, causing us to stop dead in our tracks. It was a girl, her face pale and streaked with tears, her eyes wide with terror. "Help me," she pleaded, her voice barely a whisper. "They're coming for me." Before we could react, a group of figures emerged from the trees behind her, their faces hidden beneath dark hoods. They moved with a sinister grace, their movements almost unnatural as they closed in on us. Instinct kicked in, and we turned and ran, our footsteps echoing through the silent forest. Branches tore at my clothes, roots tripped me up, but I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. The only thought in my mind was escape. But no matter how fast we ran, the figures behind us seemed to keep pace effortlessly, their presence a looming shadow that swallowed us whole. Panic clawed at my throat as I struggled to keep moving, my lungs burning with exertion. Just when I thought we couldn't run any longer, we burst into a clearing and stumbled to a stop, gasping for breath. But our relief was short-lived as we realized the clearing was anything but safe. In the center of the clearing stood a circle of stones, ancient and weathered, with strange symbols carved into their surface. And in the center of the circle lay a girl, her body unmoving, her eyes wide and glassy. As we approached, a sense of dread settled over me like a heavy fog. I recognized her from camp, a quiet girl who had kept to herself, always on the fringes of our group. But now, she lay before us like a sacrificial offering, surrounded by the symbols of some dark ritual. Before we could react, a voice spoke from the darkness, low and guttural, sending shivers down my spine. "Welcome, children," it said, and as one, we turned to see the figures emerging from the shadows, their faces twisted in cruel smiles. "You have stumbled into something far older and darker than you can imagine, and now you belong to us." With a sinking feeling, I realized that we were not the hunters in this forest. We were the prey, trapped in a nightmare from which there was no escape. And as the figures closed in around us, their laughter echoing through the silent forest, I knew that our summer camp had become something far more sinister, a place where nightmares came to life, and innocence was lost forever.